Alright, hey guys, thanks a lot for watching today. Today we're going to be talking about the difference between the WASR 10 and the M10. There's been a lot of debate about both of these rifles. People essentially accuse the M10 of being a WASR 10 with tactical furniture on it. Now, I can see where they're coming from, but I don't necessarily agree. But first, let me digress and let's talk about the differences from the WASR series rifles versus your standard AKM AK-47 series rifle. You can always tell a WASR series or a Romanian AK from the fact that it does not have the dimples on the side. Both of these examples do not have dimples. The reason that most other AKM AK-47 platforms have the dimples is to keep the magazines from wobbling. Now, that's not something the Romanians simply forgot about. What they did is they came to a different approach. They used an internal bar system that actually internally keeps the magazines secure and keeps them from wobbling. A lot of times you'll get the mag wobble coming from somebody with a Dremel tool, like on the WASR 10s, cutting the mag well out a little bit too deep and giving too much lateral movement amongst the magazine. Okay, now let's go to the difference. The M10 is not just a WASR 10 with tactical furnitures, and I'm going to tell you why. This WASR 10 here was manufactured in 1975. And it was designed for the Romanian Army and was actually fielded with the Romanian Army. What happened after the Romanian Army decided they don't want to use the WASRs anymore, essentially they cut them down into parts kits and sold them. So that's one big difference. And anytime you get a rifle and you take it apart completely and then reassemble it, there's going to be some hiccups, some issues, things like that. And one of the things that they actually did when importing the WASR into the U.S. and as well as the M10, is that they're imported as single-stacked magazines. So what the importer has to do, in the case of the WASR, is they get a Dremel tool and they cut around the edge to make the double-stacked magazines fit. So that's one thing that they did with the WASR 10. A big difference between that and the M10 is that they actually use a CNC machine to create the cut inside the magazine well. The M10 is a rifle from Cougar, just like the WASR 10. But the difference is that the WASR 10 is manufactured in 2012 versus the M10 is manufactured in 2012 versus the WASR 10 being manufactured in 1975. So that's a big lapse in time. The M10 is a brand new production rifle. So it comes out of the factory completely brand new. It's not assembled with parts kits. So that's a big difference compared to the WASR 10, where sometimes you can get piecemealed parts. I was lucky enough to get my WASR 10 to have all matching numbers. But some people aren't so lucky. M10, you don't have to worry about. You have the CNC cut on the magazine well. You also have an integrated front sight on the gas block. It does shorten your sight radius up, so that's truth. But in order to kind of make up for that, they added an RPK style rear sight. Let's see if you guys can get a good look at that. So not only do you have your elevation adjustments, but you also have windage adjustments on the rear sight, which is a really big plus. Another thing that they added into the M10 is a breacher style muzzle brake. Now the idea behind a breacher style muzzle brake is that you can go up against an object such as a door and pull the trigger, and you have space for the gas to expand. So it's not going to blow up the barrel. You can't say the same thing for a slant cut. Similar to the idea of the Mossberg 500 breacher shotguns. So you know, you have a new production rifle versus a production rifle from 1975. So you're going to get a big difference in terms of quality, machining, just technology that's advanced from that time. They're not using the same exact machines that they used when they made this rifle in 1975. So yes, it is very similar to the WASR 10, but the M10 is a newer production rifle, and you're going to get a lot of new features like the RPK sight, the integrated front sight, the breacher-style muzzle brake, the UTG quad rail in the front, Hogue pistol grip, and synthetic stock. So those are really the main differences between the WASR 10 and the M10. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you enjoy.